While most brands have moved towards layered constructions, thermoforming, injected foam, stacked surface materials, Avoura went the opposite direction. The Revaya and Rivelle are Gen 1 builds at their core, cold-bonded raw T700 carbon over polypropylene with no edge inserts, no mold compression, and no structural shortcuts disguised as innovation. What they are is deliberate. The Revaya is Avoura's elongated frame, the Rivelle is a hybrid with a softer shoulder and a wider upper third. Both use a 13mm core and share the same raw carbon face, but they're shaped and balanced differently to bring out control and not artificial speed. This isn't about pushing numbers or injecting pop. It's about creating paddles that feel intuitive, reduce fatigue, and hold up in real match play without relying on tech sleight of hand. Everything from the shape to the balance was designed to expand the usable sweet spot and stabilize the paddle during off-center contact. Avoura sent both paddles with no expectations, and they didn't get to see this review ahead of time. If you decide to try one, code MPB will save you some money at checkout and help support this channel. So let's get started with the construction because everything else builds from there. These are straightforward Gen 1 builds, raw Toray T700 carbon layered over a cold-pressed polypropylene core. No foam fill, no thermoformed edges, no multi-material layups. What sets them apart is how focused the design is on expanding usable hitting area and delivering clean feedback without inflating swing weight. Both paddles are widest at the equator, directly around the contact zone. It's a shaping concept borrowed from torpedo-style MLB bats. Add width where impact happens, not where it looks good on paper. That concentrated mass around the hitting zone adds torsional stability and enlarges the effective sweet spot without distorting the paddle's swing profile. To support that, Avoura embedded discrete perimeter weight points directly into the mold before compression. On X-ray, you'll see those as dots around the inner frame, strategically placed mass, not filler or foam. While they are there to dampen vibration and artificially soften mishits, they're also there to stabilize the paddle across the hitting zone without distorting swing weight or balance. It's a built-in reinforcement system and not an add-on. They also prototyped multiple core densities and landed on an 8mm polypropylene cell size, slightly denser than typical builds. That gives the face a bit more integrity under pressure, which helps reduce vibration and preserve energy on contact without turning the paddle into a trampoline. Bonding is done cold, not heat cured, so there's no artificial stiffness or rebound. That gives the face a more tactile response. You feel the ball move through the face, core, and laminate, and that transparency pays off when you're shaping shots or dialing in resets across longer sets. And all of this is done here in the US, and not just assembled here, but manufactured from the ground up with tight production control. No rebranded molds, no off-the-shelf shells, just intentional construction built around how the paddle should actually play in hand. The Revaya measures 16.375 inches long by 7.5 inches wide with a 5.75-inch handle and a 13mm core. It's a true elongated frame, but one that's shaped to keep mass near the center. My test unit came in at 8.29 ounces static with a swing weight of 113.85 and a twist weight of 5.85. It's stable on full swings and carries weight through contact, but the lower twist weight leaves room for improvement on edge hits. I added 10 to 12 grams of tungsten up top and along the shoulders. It tightened the feel and expanded the usable zone without dragging the paddle down. The Revelle runs shorter and wider at 16.125 inches long by 7.75 inches wide, also with a 5.75-inch handle. It's Avoura's hybrid model, built for faster hands and a more forgiving feel. The swing weight clocks in at 109.9 with a twist weight of 6.25 and a static weight of 7.98 ounces. That extra width and torsional resistance makes it more stable across the face. You feel it in quick exchanges, fewer deflections, and more composure. Both paddles use the same raw T700 carbon face and cold layered 13mm core. The real difference comes down to shaping and balance. The Revaya favors full court pressure and deeper drives. The Revelle plays quicker, steadier, and more reactive. Neither is underbuilt, but both give you the headroom to mod if you want. Out of the box, both paddles offered a steady, grounded feel. No artificial pop, no unpredictable rebound. You can feel the layers work in sequence: ball, face, core. That connection makes placement more intuitive and keeps you in control even as the session drags on. The Revaya plays with more weight behind the ball. At 113.85 swing weight, it delivers momentum on drives and deeper court strokes. That heft gives it a deliberate swing path and solid contact feel. But its lower twist weight at 5.85 means it doesn't clean up mishits for you. Off-center shots can flutter unless you've added some weight. After a few sessions, I did run 10 to 12 grams of tungsten along the upper edge and shoulder. It didn't just improve forgiveness, it made the paddle feel more centered on every swing. The Revelle felt more composed from the start. Its slightly wider frame, 109.9 swing weight, and 6.25 twist weight combined for cleaner resets and more stable blocks. It's not soft, but it plays with a level head when the point speeds up. The hybrid shape gives it a quicker reload, and the added torsional resistance helps it stay true on flicks and counters. Performance numbers line up with that feel. 55.2 miles per hour serve speed and 36.9 miles per hour punch volley for the Revaya, compared to 54.9 and 36.8 on the Revelle. Spin clocked in at 2,140 and 2,181 RPM respectively. Not max RPM territory, but very playable for a Gen 1 surface. The raw T700 face and denser core give you consistent traction on the ball without needing added layering. Where the paddles really separate is on forgiveness, and you can see it in Avoura's design. Perimeter weighting embedded directly into the mold and not added after the fact. Compared to something like the Bantam line, which loses feel around the perimeter, the Revelle still shows some drop-off near the edges, but it's better than most Gen 1 builds. The Revaya takes it a step further. Even without mods, it stayed playable on wider contact. After adding weight, it held up confidently across the full face. Neither of these paddles tries to overpower your swing or mask poor hits, but they do offer something that's harder to measure: predictability. They give you a clean signal and let you adjust mid-rally without fighting your own gear. That's where they shine, when it's not just one shot, but a whole set. The Revaya and Rivelle share construction, same T700 carbon, same cold bonded core, but their shape creates two distinctively play experiences. Both paddles share a design philosophy, and that is the widest part of the paddle sits directly at the equator, right around the hitting zone. And that shape mirrors what made torpedo bats in Major League Baseball so effective. Add mass where you strike the ball. The result is better torsional resistance without bloating swing weight. The Revaya leans into that with a cleaner taper for reach. The Revelle maximizes it with surface area and frame width. Visually, the Revaya can trick your eyes into thinking that it's narrower than it is. Put it next to a Vatic Pro V7 or Yola Perseus, and the footprint is nearly identical. Keyword nearly. It just hides its mass better thanks to that tapered frame and subtle graphics. If you switch between paddle styles, the transition between these two will feel natural, but your preference will likely come down to play style, a bit more power and reach versus speed and stability. The Revaya and Rivelle aren't built to do everything. They're built to play clean, stay stable, and hold up across long sets. If you're after big pop or trampoline power, you should look elsewhere. But if you want some control, feedback, and low friction performance, these are worth a look. These are Gen 1 builds by default. Avoura chose cold bonded layers, uniform core density, and internal weighting to deliver real feedback without introducing arm fatigue, and it works. After hours of testing, I didn't feel the lingering stress or tension that usually comes with stiffer, edge-filled frames. The Revaya is best for players who want a little extra weight behind their shots. Its higher swing weight helps carry through the ball on drives and roll volleys, but it benefits from proper prep and clean mechanics. I did add tungsten to improve forgiveness near the perimeter, and it handled the mod well. If you lean into your offense or want a more stable platform for counter punching, this one delivers. The Revelle plays looser and faster, and it's a better option for players that need help blocking and resetting or want faster hands. The broader face and higher twist weight make it easier to keep points alive, even when your tuning's a little off. If you want something stable and easy to swing without giving up control, that one's a fit. Neither paddle is trying to inflate your numbers, or will, but they are designed to elevate your consistency. And for most players, that's what actually moves the needle. The Revaya and Rivelle retail for $199, sold directly from Avoura, and that puts them well below many of today's high-performance paddles. But the real value isn't just in the savings, it's in the execution. These aren't layered composites or foam-filled frames trying to simulate feel. They're built with intention, cold-bonded T700 carbon, molded in perimeter weighting, and a shape that centers performance around the sweet spot. The result is a paddle that plays clean, stays quiet, and holds up across long sessions without relying on shortcuts. At this price, they undercut the Paddletech Bantam series by $50. The Bantams hit harder, no doubt, but they're also stiffer, louder, and less forgiving around the perimeter of the face. If you want a quieter, softer option that reduces strain and delivers more usable sweet spot, Avoura makes a strong case. They're also made entirely in the US. No offshore cores, no relabeled imports. Just tight manufacturing and a clear design ethos. At $199, these paddles don't sell flash, they do sell reliability. After weeks of testing, here's where I landed. The Revaya and Rivelle aren't chasing trends, they're dialing in feel. These are Gen 1 builds, yes, but they're refined. The focus is on reducing fatigue, expanding the usable sweet spot, and delivering a connected, low-friction playing experience. Neither paddle is built for max pop or spin, but if you value control, feedback, and arm-friendly play over raw output, these deliver. They're clean, quiet, and consistent, especially over long sets, where the consistency matters most. If you're coming from stiffer Gen 1s or thermoformed rockets or foam-heavy builds that fatigue the arm, this is a change of pace in the right direction. You can use code MPB at checkout to save and support this channel, and if you've got questions about the setup, weight tuning, or how these paddles might fit your game, drop them in the comments and I'll answer everyone. Thanks for watching, subscribe if these deep dive reviews are helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.